All right, guys, so let's take a look at this other example you were supposed to do on your own. Let's start off with, if we know that x is 3 and w equals 2, we're going to start to take these values and substitute them into the variables that we know. So I'm going to do it over here. So we can start off over here with, we know that x equals 3. So I take the x out, remember, wrap it in a set of parentheses, and then we have an x times a w, remove that. That's squared plus 5. And look, I'm copying everything else from our problem. Yes, algebra requires a lot of copying and rewriting. We use a lot of paper in this class. I'm just letting you know. It's a heads up for, or a foreshadowing for what's to come. Use that word with Miss Robinson when you get her. Foreshadowing. It's a glimpse of what's to come. All right, so x is 3. So we have one x up here. So this is a 3. We can fill it in. And then here's our w. Our w value is 2, so we can put a 2 in here. We also had a w downstairs in the denominator. We can fill that in for a 2. And there was another w. Fill it in with a 2. We're kind of like Vanna White on the Wheel of Fortune, plugging in or turning all the numbers. So now we've replaced all of our variables with the given values of what those variables equal. We've substituted them in. Now we do PEMDAS. Here we go, trying to evaluate it. So PEMDAS states P, parentheses. At the top, we have parentheses going on. And this is what I was telling you was key, why we wrap these things in parentheses. Notice, if we just would have plugged in a 3 and a 2, and we didn't wrap it in parentheses, it might have looked like we just typed 32 in there, when really what we were doing is we are multiplying these two numbers together, because it's x times w. We also use this little symbol. It looks like a period that's like in the center of a line. That's a multiplication symbol. That's the symbol we use in algebra now more than these little old x's, because we have x's in our problems. It gets confusing. So start to evaluate it. Parentheses first. So 3 times 2 is 6. And guess what? We have to rewrite this entire thing again. So this we've done, it turns to 6 squared plus 5. And then we have divided by. Okay, we now have to continue with, we're still on P because we have more things that are in parentheses. Look, well, this parentheses here, so there's nothing else here, but it is telling us to do this first. Look at this first. So next in our order of operations is exponents. So 2 raised to the power of 3. Okay, so we have, I'll do some side work over here. So it's 2 multiplied 3 times. So 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 times 2 is 8. So this becomes 8 in the denominator, plus 2. Okay, now we can simplify. One more time. We have what? 6 squared. Okay, so 6 squared is 36 plus 5. And we have an 8 plus 2. Okay, great. Now we're in our very final step. Well, 36 plus 5 becomes what? Let's think. 36 plus 5. Well, 4 more. Take 4 from here. 1, 41. Over, well, 8 plus 2 is 10. Now, I know some of you right away look at this and you're like, oh, you'll say, Mr. C, I need to turn this into a mixed number. That's why we love fractions in algebra, guys. Don't do that. We leave things in improper fractions almost all the time. All we have to do is reduce this if it can be reduced. Is there any numbers here? Can we reduce this? Can we take it and say, 2? Does 2 go into 41 evenly? No. There's nothing that goes into that evenly. This is just an ugly looking fraction, which is perfectly fine. It's an improper fraction. So that would be your final answer, and you're done. Please do not put your answer in as 4 1/10. That would be wrong. You leave it as a reduced fraction. You're done with that one. What's next? So here, they want us to just combine like terms. They have 2x plus 3y minus x. Notice there's two different variables in this particular problem. They just want us to simplify. Simplify, simplify. Simplify means combine like terms. So sometimes it's easier if you have your highlighter, you've got a problem here. Okay, so let's say highlight the terms that are alike. Okay, so I know that there is a x, here is an x. That's a different term. There's nothing else that I can highlight that's the same. Now, add those types up. So look at the coefficient. This coefficient is 2, and this coefficient is a -1. So 2 minus 1 is just a single little x. Great. What's left? So we've used this one, we've used this one. The only thing left is 3y. So x plus 3y. There is your final answer. You gathered the terms that had the exact same variable. We highlighted them to identify and visually cue ourselves that, hey, these are the same. We combine those two together by addition because you had a 2 minus a 1 is 1. And then all we did was we brought this one straight down. Why don't you guys pause this video and try this next example on your own, and I'll come right back to it in just a second. All right, so hopefully you guys pause the video and try this example on your own. Let's take the highlighter again. Let's highlight our terms that are exactly the same. We have a W here, and we have a W over here, and we have a Z. Well, that's not the same, so we can go ahead and we're ready to start to do our work. Now, as we sit here and we look at this, okay, so we have 4W, and sometimes maybe if you have an issue with this, maybe it's easier just to rewrite it. Put your terms next to each other. This is another way of doing it. Is it more work? Yes, but if it helps you stay organized, then it's a good idea. Remember, we use a lot of paper in algebra. The goal isn't how long does it take us to get to the right solution.
Johnson, if you're still on campus, Mr.
Not about how long it takes us to get to that right answer, but did we make it there? So sometimes it may take us longer. It's okay. So here's this other option. Reorganize it so you've putting all of these little pieces by themselves. 4W plus 2W. Notice we've gathered our like terms together. Minus 1/2 Z. And I already know there's somebody there saying, oh gosh, Mr. C, there's one of those dreaded fractions. Guys, fractions are our friend. Okay, they're easy to work with. I will show you all kinds of tricks this year that you're gonna realize it's not so bad. Okay, we have here, if I can get rid of these dumb little bubbles, but we have 4W plus 2W. Okay, so 4 plus 2 is a 6W. So there's a total of 6 W's here. And then we have a minus 1/2 Z. Well, guess what? There are no other Z's. So the only thing we do is carry it straight down. Minus 1/2 Z. And like that, you're done with this problem. This was your final answer. Notice the one thing that I have done. I have also been boxing all of my answers. There is nothing worse in math than doing the whole problem. You make a tiny mistake somewhere in your work and your teacher marks the entire problem wrong because they have no idea what your actual answer is. If you mark this wrong, Okay, and you've done all that work, that just stinks. That's horrible. But if you have sit here, you've boxed your answer, and then I can look back and say, oh, well, maybe what happened? What if you made a simple error here? I can give you partial credit. So always show all your work and identify your solution. So as a teacher, I can look back and figure out what's going on. I have an answer, and then I look to see, hey, where did they make the mistake? If it was a simple mistake, I'll give you points. I'll give you some credit for what you've done correct. So please make sure you do that. It's a good practice. All math classes from here on out. And that there basically, guys, it ends our examples for this first particular lesson. All of our lessons are going to be the same thing from here on out, whether we're doing it online or we're doing it in class. In class, you'll see there's slight differences. Sometimes we might have you come up to the board depending on how our safety procedures are this year. But this is how notes work in general. We start all class periods after our bell ringer. We go right into notes. And then from when we finish notes, then it's time to turn you over to start to do your classwork, which majority of your classwork is either online or they're online worksheets. So please, 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 if you are issued a district computer, bring your computer to class. If you were not issued a district computer and you have a personal one that you're able to bring to class or an iPad or something and you're responsible to take care of it, we provide you with an internet access and then you do your work in class. If not, I have to print worksheets and stuff for you. So we're trying to avoid all that touching stuff and spreading germs. So electronic is the way to go if you have it, guys. It was really fun doing the first class, and I look forward to it because we got tons and tons of lessons. I'm going to teach you things that you never even thought you could possibly do in math. All right, get busy. You will see your homework posted in the general tab today. Try it out. Get in there, log in, deltamath.com.